Yo, what's up, guys? You're here with Dip and
Tuck.
And this is the PlanetFight Podcast, episode 2. Today we're going to talk a little bit about UFC 247.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that stands out in this card is how they took that win away from Dominic Reyes. Because, I think in both of our opinions, he won that fight pretty handily.
Yeah.
Like, the first 3 rounds really didn't appear that close. And the 4th round was even close for John. The 5th round, John took over, but you have these dudes saying, like, you got to beat the champ to be the champ, or that, like, the championship rounds matter more, and it's silly, because then that takes away the whole point of the rounds and scoring system. Yeah. If you wanted something like be the champ to beat the champ, or the final rounds to weigh more, have a no time limit match. Like, that's how those things work. It's not the sport. It's silly to talk like that.
There we go. Yeah, I was disappointed. That was terrible. Mm. I mean, just like Joe Rogan said, he was disappointed with those judges all night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he sees it firsthand. He's literally right there. What was the fight? He wasn't even looking.
Yeah, it was Andrea Lee versus Lauren Murphy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. How can you give me an accurate decision if you're not looking and doing other things? I don't even think these guys are qualified to be judging this sport. I'm not a master at this sport, but I think they should get people who have been in the cage before to judge these fights. They know what it's like. Like, it's just more effective. I'm disappointed, to say the least.
I understand some of the scoring for the Jones versus Reyes fight. Like, if you give it 3-2 John, I'm not gonna stomp up and down and be mad with you. I'm not gonna fight you about it. But the dude that scored it 49-46 for John, it's silly, and it's disrespectful to a certain point for Dominic Reyes. I know. And that dude, I can't remember his name off the top of my head now, is a jiu-jitsu black belt, owns multiple martial arts schools, and gave him that score. So at a certain point, it's either incompetence or corruption. Like, you can't have the two. And when that kind of stuff happens, and I see your background and it's like that, it breathes more towards corruption, and that you came in with an inherent bias that you can't put behind
Exactly.
you. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's go through this fight. Round 1. Dom comes out. What'd you think of what he showed us in round 1 and 2? We'll start with there.
Yeah, I mean, he gave John a lot of problem because it seemed for the first 3 rounds, he never let John reset. When John would throw and come forward, he would attack his legs.
Right.
And then John does this thing where he'll push and use his shoulder to shuck and cover himself.
Right.
But Reyes is so long. Like, you can do those things.
He kept pressuring him through that.
You can do those things against DC because DC can't hit you at the end of that. Like,
exactly.
He's 5'10". You're fucking 6'5". It's just how it works.
Uh-huh.
But Reyes has the ability to circle off and throw, like you saw it. When John would try to reset, Reyes would pressure and then throw a head kick when John would duck out of the way.
When John would try to set up for something, he would just smack him real quick with that leg kick. And you could tell John was kind of thinking twice. In the second round, man, he punched a hole in his chest.
Yeah.
He put him on the ground.
Yeah. It was a hard shot.
I personally, at first, I didn't know because of the camera angle. Mm-hmm. I thought he hit him, I don't know, in his chin. Mm-hmm. But then when they showed the replay and he hit him right here or something like that.
Yeah, but
caught him off balance.
It's still a drop. Like, he put him down.
Right. I agree. And I think it should be.
Like, if that was boxing, it would be, I think it would be a drop by body shot, and it would still take a point off. So
exactly.
Round, yeah.
Back to that judge though. What was that one fight early on where the guy had his? It was round 4, and the guy had his back for 3 minutes or something like that. It was most of the round, and he scored. He scored it for the other guy. It's how he controlled the whole fight or the whole round.
It was James Krause, Trevin Giles.
Exactly.
And James Krause not only had his back, was going for the choke, had in a body triangle for 3 minutes straight.
3 minutes, how?
Yeah, it was. And also, if you are a jiu-jitsu black belt and train people on a regular basis, you have to understand how hard it is to get to someone's back and then to control that, especially at
just
such
keep
a high
it up.
level.
Yeah,
for a full 4 minutes. That's absurd.
Exactly.
It's.
And then. I don't know if you've been seeing how they've been saying like live scoring, like at the end of each round, like if John Jones could look up at the scoreboard and be like, I lost that round, like they got to give it right then and there, like 10-9 or 10-8, like whatever, so he knows where they stand. And like people said that would ruin fights because they would like ease off or something like that, but I don't think you would see that. I think you would see like a more strategic fighting, because when you're up, then you'll see the other guy pushing and doing certain things. You know what I mean? And we'd see certain different things out of different guys, rather than no one knows what's going on, and at the end, everyone and their mother thinks that one guy wins, and then one guy could like throw it off. You know?
Yeah. So it shows you where you stand. I like that a lot, but to play devil's advocate, you're right. Dudes could go up 3 rounds and then coast.
All I gotta say is Dana. Something needs done, man.
Yeah.
Fix it.
It's silly.
It's ridiculous.
I really love Dominic Reyes' ability to break John Jones' rhythm, though, in that fight. I thought that was the most impressive thing, where he never let John set, because you can see it. John pushes forward, would do a switch stance into his main, and then he would fire off the jab and then come hard with the left, or just fire off the straight left. And the left, he was throwing the left to the body just to keep John at his kicking distance. Exactly. Because anytime John would try to kick him, he would throw his own. And it's almost like a Muay Thai approach to the fight, because like he returned kicks with kicks, and then whenever John would try to move or try to adjust, he would throw kicks. So he's really just battered him from the first 3 rounds with his left leg. It was very impressive. I didn't expect him to come out like that, but he
Oh, I know you didn't.
I know.
I know. Watch our preview of UFC 247. You'll see who was a little closer on the prediction.
Okay, you said first round knockout.
No, I said round 2 or 3 finish. And when did he drop him? 2.
Yeah, a drop.
So that's close. I know, but it's close. No one's ever done that to John Jones. Don't play with me like that. You were over there in awe. And don't play with me. I had more faith in Dom than you did.
Yeah. I also, the thing that separated both of them in the first 3 rounds was that John was throwing his kicks naked, and Dominic Reyes was using footwork to set up his kicks. So where John would just try to step in and hit that hard oblique kick, Reyes would just circle and throw his own. So like you see the difference.
Like I said, dare I say it, Conor McGregor. I said the counters were going to come into play, and they did. Watch our UFC 247 preview. I said Dominic Reyes' counters are nothing to mess with, and I think he proved that in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
His boxing is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal athlete. Everyone was mocking him for him talking about like his NFL experiences, but that's real. That training's different. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying John Jones is not like a freak, but like, dude, we saw out there, Dom belongs to be there with anyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like another thing, every time he got taken down, he got right back up. Every single time. Right back up. No one's ever done, who can you name just gets right back up from John Jones?
DC.
He did not. They was getting hit.
He got back up.
Dude, John Jones literally did nothing on the ground to him. Nothing. Yeah. He got right,
the problem is John Jones forced him to defend those takedowns hard. And it was, like Dominic Cruz said during the fight, it wasn't like Reyes was technically getting out of these things. He just wasn't accepting the position. So it drained his gas tank a lot. Right.
And that's why I'll say he lost 4 and 5, fair and square. But John Jones did nothing crazy. Like, he didn't drop him. He didn't do anything in 4 and 5. And here's the thing, in 4 and 5, Dom, even in 4 especially, Dom was still smacking him with them counters. Yeah. He was more tired. He wasn't landing the quick ones like he normally does, but he realized where his stamina was at and what his endurance was at the time, and was picking his shots. He wasn't moving forward. I know he wasn't moving forward the whole fight, but it's like he was definitely landing more shots and doing more efficient damage. And it's ridiculous.
In the 4th and the 5th, though, you really saw John turn it up, and Reyes, it seemed like Reyes thought he was up 3 rounds to none. Right. Justifiably so, I'd say.
Right, so because he didn't want to get knocked out. Yeah. Even we were saying in the 5th round, we're like, just survive because you won this fight. Because it's like 1, 2, and 3 were clear. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I like the rematch for Reyes. The more I watch that fight,
I don't. I hate it. I think he's going to get knocked out. John's so good in rematches. That was Reyes's chance.
Yeah.
and they took it from him. That you only get one shot like that to beat someone like John Jones, and it's over.
Yeah, I do think the rematch of John wrestles the shit out of him. You saw where he got success, and it was exhausting him with grappling.
Right.
But I think Reyes makes the adjustments because it's not like John was setting up his takedowns with strikes. He was shooting in from the outside. So Reyes is he's a very intelligent counter striker. You saw that in this fight.
Dude, he was good at everything. I couldn't name one thing that I was like, Reyes didn't do that well.
Yeah. The only thing is the cardio base.
That's what, besides that. But I'm saying, like, in terms of, like, striking, technically he was dude, his head kicks, he was throwing them right with John, blocking, doing everything right. He looked like a world-class fighter. And I was trying to tell everyone, I've been watching this man's fights. I've been watching his fights, and he is a killer. He's a straight killer. I think he beats Gus Santos. The way he fought in that fight, no one's beating him, man.
I think he can win the rematch because it's a short adjustment for Reyes to...
Endurance.
Well, no, not even for endurance. Because the way John was shooting for those takedowns, like you saw Reyes defending the clinch very, very well. I liked that. That looked amazing. But when John Jones would shoot from the outside, it looked like something that Reyes didn't expect. So when he comes in for this rematch, I bet you he throws way more uppercuts. Like you saw when John Jones pressed him, he would frame off and then come with those short uppercuts. And I like that for the takedowns. Like you see it with, if you've ever watched like Mark Hunt versus, there's a few dudes, whenever they would shoot, he would throw that really short uppercut through the chin.
Right.
That's something Reyes is, like, that's a very good counter.
Dude, those uppercuts were nice.
A great tool for him to use against John is that classic Donald Cerrone counter step and knee. When guys are pushing, you cover, switch stance, knee. Like, especially if Jones is going to shoot, you might Jorge Masvidal this dude. Like, I like the rematch for Reyes. I really, really do. I think people...
We'll see. We might be switching picks next fight because I might be picking... Because I don't know. I might pick with the heart. We always pick with the heart here at Planet Fight. I might pick with the heart. Unless we throw some moolah down, a little $3 bet.
I did listen to that podcast you sent me of Josh Thompson and John McCarthy.
Big John McCarthy, my guy. Thanks for going public with that on the podcast and airing everything out. The corruption, the bull.
Josh Thompson's point about John Jones not looking godly after the whole picogram fucking situation, I think is very poignant. I think it's a good point. I don't want to just assume that John was on drugs that entire time, but fuck. Like his last 3 fights, like the last time he had picograms in his system was when he absolutely demolished Gus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And after that, he's just hasn't looked the same. Mm-hmm. And it's not like it's been years and he's had these like insane wars. He really like coasted to a win with Santos, coasted to a win with
he plays
Anthony
safe.
Smith. Yeah, like
as Brendan Schaub says, toying with his food.
Yeah,
he didn't toy with his food this time. I'll tell you that. He was getting smacked up in there, boy. Uppercuts, rights, kicks, leg kicks.
Yeah, I and like Brendan Schaub's point, like last year was that John has 2 brothers in the NFL, and the NFL is notoriously good at beating drug tests.
Hell yeah.
Knowing how to get around drug tests and knowing how to cheat without getting caught.
Oh, yeah, them dudes in the NFL smoke like crazy, do whatever.
Let's talk about Valentina's fight then.
Valentina, is she the GOAT of women's?
I mean...
Or is it Amanda Nunes?
It's Amanda Nunes, because Amanda Nunes beat her
twice.
Yeah, but no one's beating Valentina at that weight, I don't think.
Do you think she's a secret spy?
I do think she's a secret spy.
Well, here's the thing. I saw a theory. Valentina didn't take much damage, right? Mm-hmm. But the Caitlyn girl did. Like, she was all a little bloodied up, banged up in the face. Valentina got her a longer medical suspension than her. And they're saying that it's so she can do her missions. Like, she has time in between.
No, I bet she just like broke her foot with that kick, or
she might have, yeah.
She hit her hand,
like might have busted a hand. Caitlyn from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, born in, I think she's like from around Philly. She trains out of Jersey.
Okay. Yeah. Philly people were tough.
Yeah.
She was taking them hits.
Like she was game. She showed up ready to fucking go. It's just Valentina's
the killer, straight killer,
just absurdly good. The next fight on that, Juan Adams and Justin Tafa.
Juan Adams and Justin Tafa.
Juan got released
cracked
by the
him,
UFC.
boy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Cracked him.
Tafa, even when things started to not go his way and Juan was pressuring, he stayed really calm. I was pretty impressed with that.
I mean, that was a good fight, but at the end, boom.
Yeah, I mean, the power he has, even for a heavyweight, it's a tad silly. And it might just be that Juan doesn't have the best chin because he got finished by Greg Hardy in a kind of silly way too. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Tafa does in that division.
Yeah, dude, that power is no joke.
Yeah.
Do you think like he would be able to like stand with the likes of like Derek Lewis or Francis Ngannou?
Maybe Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou. That's a different story altogether. Yeah,
it's a big boy. He throws them big hands.
It seemed recently like Derek Lewis can't really string together his shots.
Right.
And we'll talk about that.
Especially in this last fight. Definitely.
Yeah, but I like Tafa. I think he's one to watch. This next one,
I picked Bektik.
You did,
and you picked Ige.
Yeah, on decision too, because them boys fucking went.
They are nice.
That first round for Ige, he came out and smoked that dude.
Like, he did.
It didn't look like it was going to be a close fight at all. Bektik came back in the second round and really showed off why GSP and all those dudes at TriStar say he has the best top pressure in the game. Like, dude, very, very impressive.
He was on him. I like that whole fight. Yeah, they were banging.
Yeah,
they were banging.
And that third round, I don't know if you saw it. When Ige was in his corner,
I see everything.
All right. His coach goes up and he was like, "What do we do in the third round?" And Ige stood off the stool and was like, "Fuck him up!" And
yeah. He screamed it real loud. That was sick.
Put on a show for that third round. It was good.
I let out a slight giggle. All right, so the big boy, Derek Lewis. What did you think of that fight?
That one was one of those fights where neither guy really did a lot. So I wasn't mad at the decision because they really didn't. Like, no one went for broke there. No one really.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was just disappointed in the judging. You know that. You know that. Here's my thing. Because I'm a little salty about Reyes, and everyone talks about the takedowns and everything. Yeah. But John didn't even do anything with those takedowns. Nothing happened. He at least, and I know you said he didn't do. I'm not saying he did damage to Lewis. He was doing work. Yeah. He was still moving forward. And if they talk about all this being the aggressor and being pushing forward and the takedowns and everything, it's not like Derek tagged him in the end of the third, like you said, but. I just think in terms of control and stuff like that, like I said, I don't know what to judge on anymore. But I thought Alir won that fight.
Yeah, I think a big problem too is that the judges are in the arena live with the crowd. So Derek Lewis is a huge hometown favorite, and anytime he did anything remotely,
it seemed,
the crowd goes absolutely insane, and that's something that can affect it as well. Like, they're cage side, they're hearing all this stuff,
of course,
and. Yeah, I didn't understand Derek Lewis's game plan coming in as well. Because for someone that wants to clinch and control you and take you down, he was throwing a lot of things that initiated a crash. Like, if I throw a flying knee
that flying knee, man. But that Derek Lewis flying knee. Hey, a lot of times in this show, guys, I tell you, I'm going to make it a thing.
Yeah.
No joke of the week. First I said those dudes from Dagestan.
Yeah.
They're no joke. You don't mess with them. But let me tell you something. Of all the no jokes we've had on this show,
the Derek Lewis
flying knee is no joke. You do not play around with the flying knee and Derek Lewis. I feel bad for the heavyweight division. He's going to get better and better at that.
Yeah.
He was throwing head kicks.
I just didn't understand it, though. The head kicks were great because they were fast.
Oh, he was snapping them things.
Yeah, and it's not something that closes the
I've
distance.
Never seen a boy that big head kick like that. Never in my life.
The problem is, when he was throwing those flying knees, after the first one, Alir was just using it to clinch. It wasn't landing.
Right, yeah.
So for someone that wants to, if you and I are fighting, and I know you just want to get a hold of me, I'm going to pop you in the nose with my jab and keep a good distance.
Right.
Wait until you step in and crack you. For Derek, all of the tools he used were stuff that took it into Alir's game.
Right.
He didn't stick to something that used his best attributes the way they should have been used. Because he can crack, especially from from an inside boxing distance, he's great. But he would come in all the way and then have to separate back out.
Dude, those shots at the end were crazy.
Yeah.
He was popping. Forward. Those shots were crazy. He wanted to finish so bad.
But that's where he shines. Because in that moment, he was pressuring,
Who did he knock out with 7 seconds left?
Alexander Volkov.
Yeah. We were watching that fight, dude. I was like, dude, is this guy serious? That was like one of the first like fights you like showed me. Like, dude, this dude's pretty good. And I'm like, I don't think he's that good. And then, boom, knocked him out cold.
Well, you saw where he shines, where he pressures, and he pumps his jab.
Right.
And he'll push you into the cage, pump his jab, and circle slowly to his left just to keep outside foot position.
Right.
And then when you try to cut away, he throws an uppercut or an overhand as you come off the fence. And it's great. It's perfect. It's the best work he does. And you saw that shine in the end of the third and the beginning of the first. But it seemed like he fell in love with trying to land this flying knee, and then fell in love with trying to push Aliyah up against the fence and hit him. And like, I get you're just feeling
him
out
to create
fight.
space.
Yeah, I want him to create space and
throw haymakers. Because he'll catch him eventually.
Yeah,
I agree. The Giles fight, that was ridiculous. Yeah. Like we said before, he was on him for like. It just was a display of how showed you what the judges were about that night, and it was about some trash.
Yeah.
Because that's all they were.
James Krause deserves all the respect in the world for showing up on a day's notice and taking a fight in a division above his against a very game opponent. Like, that dude had a full training camp. His opponent couldn't make weight, and then James stepped in and fucking put on a show. Almost finished him.
24 hours?
Yeah.
24-hour notice. That's nuts.
Like, legitimately the day before they were weighing in and his opponent dropped out. And James Krause said he'd take the fight. It's insanity.
To save the card.
Yeah.
In all of the UFC. In all of mankind.
Yeah, he looked good, too.
I agree.
You could see where he just got so tired, but he was still technically so much better than the guy.
Well, that's when you don't have a training camp, what can you expect?
True.
You know?
Well, is there anything else from UFC 247 you want to talk about?
No, dude, screw UFC 247. I don't want to talk about it ever again. Actually, I do want to talk about it because I love talking about John Jones getting put on his arse. I love it. I said it was going to happen. I spoke it into existence.
Yeah. I think you did say, I'm going to speak it into existence now. John Jones is going to get dropped.
I did say that.
Yeah.
Well, because we were playing UFC and I dropped him, and I told you that. I said, if I drop him here, he's going to get dropped easily. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Planet Fight Podcast Episode 2. And episode 3 will be coming soon. We have a lot more to talk about, a lot of fight news, upcoming UFC events, and even some boxing. We didn't really touch into any boxing in this episode. In the future, we definitely have some boxing to talk about, some other combat sports. Mm-hmm. So I'm signing off. I'm Tuck. I'm Dip.
I'm Tuck.
And this is the Planet Fight Podcast, and we're out.